type of things that we spend so much time trying to take care of ourselves. And I know that it's really important that we see these things through the eyes of faith. Another reason is because you'll lose heart. I believe it was something that said, I would have fainted had I not believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. The goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I find it very strange that we as Christians, as saints, want to spend more time focusing on the things that we can see. And the reason that amazes me is because Jesus said, store up treasures in the kingdom where no mold can get to them. No rust can rust it out. But we spend more time on the temporal things than we do on the things that are really important. If the things that are really important are the things we can't see, then seem like we ought to be spending more time searching for those things in which we cannot see. Are you with me? I don't have two heads tonight, do I? I didn't think so. I had one when I left home. But anyway, we have to focus on the things we can't see. Okay, y'all, y'all don't look like y'all like that too. What about that night you came home drunk and you got so drunk you don't know how you got home? Anybody can relate to that? You got so full that all you did was woke up in the bed with the same clothes on. That was something unseen that kept you. That was a power that you can't see that kept you. Huh? Opening our eyes and seeing things through faith. Do you still have that button on 2 Kings? Let's look at that button. 2 Kings chapter 6 verse 8. Do we have it? Y'all probably got it before me, huh? Amen. Beginning with verse 8. Now the king of Syria was making war against Israel, and he consulted with his servants, saying, my camp will be in such and such a place. And the man of God sent to the king of Israel, saying, beware that you do not pass this place, for the Syrians are coming down there. Then the king of Israel sent someone to the place of which the man of God had told him. Thus he warned him, and he was watchful there, not just once, not just twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Syria was greatly troubled by this thing. And he called his servants and said to them, will you not show me which one of us is for the king? In other words, he said, well, in order for them to know all this information, then it got to be somebody up in my house. And you know how you do when Rev say something and you wonder if he got microphones up or videos in your house? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, have you ever been preached to and somebody says something to you and I done seen some folk walk off from the church behind it because they feel like the other spouse done went told them. It's the same problem that king of Syria had. And verse 12 says, and one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the words that you speak even in your bed chamber. So he up in your house. It's not us. It's that man of God, Elisha. That same Elijah. This is after Naaman, the leper, the popo that he healed. Naaman. This was after the fact that Gehazi had went and took the money after Naaman. This the same Elisha who had the floating axe head. Seemed like Elisha could see something that we couldn't see. So the king said in verse 13, go and see where he is, that I may send and get him. And it was told him, saying, surely he is in Dothan. Therefore he sent horses and chariots and a great army there. And they came by night and surrounded the city. You ever been surrounded? You ever been in a position where you felt like it was nothing that you can do? Verse 15, and when the servant of the man of God arose early and went out, there was an army surrounding the city with horses and chariots. And his servant said to him, Allah, my master, what shall we do? In other words, what in the devil is we going to do in a situation like this when we surrounded? What are we going to do? I mean, there's chariots everywhere. Verse 16, so he answered, do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them. I say, do not fear, for those who are with us are more. But if you can't see them, you don't know this. Amen. Are more with us than those are with him. I like this part. Then Elijah prayed and said, Lord, I pray, open his eyes that he may see. Then the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And what did he see? And behold, a mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elijah. Don't you see? Haven't you seen the horses and the chariots that God has raised up against your enemies? Haven't you seen the angels that encamped around you all night long just to make sure that you can see another day? Tell me something. Answer a question for me. Have you ever seen grace and mercy walking down the street? I've never seen them, but I've experienced them. Have you ever seen Jesus in the flesh? Was you there when he was buried? Were you there when he was resurrected? How do you know? Because he rose up in me. I say he rose up in me. If we could see, we'd be told all the time, if we could see how much we will work to God, we couldn't just go to the bar. We couldn't do all the things we do. Come up in the church house and ask somebody to pump us up. We have to say, Lord, it's me that if nobody don't praise you, I'm going to praise you myself. Through many dangerous taws and snares. I have already. I say already. I've already come. That's my point number one. Don't focus on what it looked like. Because if you focus on what it looked like, you wouldn't be a part of this church. Not right now. If you go by what it looked like. If you go by what it looked like, you won't know that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. The next point you have to know who your enemies are. I said you must know who your enemies are. If you don't know who your enemies are, it's doubtful if you'll know how to fight them. Your enemy ain't your boss. Your enemy ain't your husband. Your enemy ain't your wife. Your enemy is a bad spirit. And you can't fight spirit with no gun. That's just like bringing a knife to a gunfight. You got to know your enemy. You got to know what will work against him and what won't work against him. I believe that's why so many of us walk around as Christians with our heads hung down, because we can't see. We can't see the provisions God has already made. What you worrying about? What have you ever worked out?